All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Harbour School webinar about the Seaweed Initiative. Today, we are with our special guest, Mr. Carlos Rius Errando, who is our seaweed farm expert in the Harbour School and our marine biologist at the Marine Science Center. Today, I am hosting the webinar. My name is Mr. Handrich Hernando. I'm the coordinator of the Social Impact and Sustainability Program of the Harbour School. So the Social Impact Sustainability Program is our framework to build social consciousness and sustainability mindset within the school by incorporating the 17 SDGs of the United Nations. So we have done a lot of sustainable initiatives throughout the whole school, be it in the whole school setup or in the classroom setting. So we're very happy to have recorded the change of their behavior and awareness when it comes to sustainability when we first launched our program. In its first year, we're able to record 84.8% increase on their awareness about sustainability and 132.9% increase on their awareness about 17 SDGs. 9 out of 10 students believe that it's important for them to learn about sustainability and SDGs in school, and 38% actually shared with their parents and friends about the UN SDGs and their different activities. So we have released our first Education for Sustainable Development report, which is a DRI reference report for our school year 2021 to 2022. And one of our highlights of our sustainable education for sustainable development initiatives is the Seaweed Initiative. So the Seaweed Initiative was funded by the Environment and Conservation Fund, which is set up by the government of Hong Kong as Hong Kong SAR to provide funding and support for educational, research, and other projects and activities in relation to environment and conservation matters. So the ECF, the Seaweed Initiative project, is under the Environmental Education and Community Action and Environmental Research Funding Scheme. So I'd like to introduce the ECF Seaweed Initiative, which aims to promote and educate within the school, but also the greater community about seaweed farming and innovation. So we want to highlight its uses and benefits to the different people and how it actually helps on our environment a lot. So its main objective, of course, is number one, marine conservation. We want to educate and advocate seaweed farming in Hong Kong, and of course, marine conservation and seawater quality in Hong Kong. Seaweed provides so much benefits, which our marine biologist, Mr. Carlos, will explain later on. And later on, we also want to highlight the different uses and benefits of it and how we can use seaweeds into different products. So through green innovation, we advocate to use like biodegradable plastics and other innovative green products that can be produced from seaweed farming. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Mr. Carlos Rius Errando, our Marine Science Center marine biologist. Mr. Carlos?
Thank you so much, Mr. Handrich Hernando. Happy to be here having this webinar. And first of all, I would like to say that I've been working with seaweed for many years in Europe. And I would say that I would expect that the students here in this part of the world, in Hong Kong, they would know more about seaweed because it's our everyday meal food, right?
Yeah.
But I was a bit shocked that they don't have much interest or knowledge about where seaweed grows, why it's important, what benefits bring to us. So first of all, we did some classes with the students to show them why seaweeds are important. And as you see here in this list, there are so many from climate change mitigator, increased biodiversity, captures CO2. It's very important as a food source and producing oxygen, for example. So that was the first step to introduce the topic to the students. Here is like a simple example of how seaweed could act as a biofilter by absorbing pollutants from the water and keeping coral reefs ecosystems, in this case, more protected. This is a picture of the carbon absorption on land and in the oceans. And as you see, in the oceans, there's a lot, many coastline. It has this bright blue color, which means that apart from phytoplankton, which is also showing here, there's a lot of seaweed that it's actually capturing carbon in the oceans. So we, after doing some research to know which species we wanted to select as candidates for our seaweed farms, we choose one green seaweed, which is called Ulva lactuca, or also known as sea lettuce, and the other one it's a brown seaweed, which is sargassum, and it basically has these aerial sacs that make it float upright, and when it's detached from the bottom, it can keep growing adrift in the oceans and keep creating habitat and absorbing carbon for a long time. Here you can see also some of the most important features of each one, from food source, fertilizer for agriculture inland, nutritional supports, very important for the different industries like the medicine, energy, cosmetics, and many more. We divided the seaweed project in 3 phases. The first one, as I mentioned before, we introduced the topic of seaweed since most of the students, they were not familiar with it. So we showed them seaweed. We did some seaweed classes with living seaweed in the class, so they could touch it, they could observe the cells in the microscope, and they could even taste it if they were willing to do it. The second phase was the more hands-on, where grade 8 students were building the prototypes with Foundry, and they had the creativity phase here, so they could come up with different prototypes, and then later they will select which ones they work better, basically. In the last phase, once we harvest the seaweed, we did some experiments, we made some bioplastic workshops, we did also some priming sports in ropes for future deployments, we did some collaborations, and we did some field trips looking for more seaweed information and teaching more about it.
I'm Jadis Blurton. I'm the head of school at the Harbour School, and we're here today to introduce you to the ECF Seaweed Initiative. Seaweed is one of those really remarkable, almost magic plants because it does so much. It provides for biodiversity, increases biodiversity in the water because it provides habitat and also food for all kinds of marine animals, fish, invertebrates, and mammals. Very importantly, it also captures carbon from the air, which actively helps with climate change. It's a sustainable material that can be used for creating what looks like plastic or cloth. It can be used for cosmetics. It's used for all kinds of things, medicine, and it also can be used as food for people and for animals. Well, we have a few different challenges in Hong Kong. One is, of course, boats. And one of the important things that they were scouting for before they actually deployed the seaweed farm was to find places where they were not going to be in a ship channel or even, a lot of boat traffic around where they were going. The heat in Hong Kong is a challenge, but I think that's actually a very good challenge to have for the kids, because for them, it allows them to do research and to try out different types of seaweed and see which one is most resilient to climate and to climate change and to different temperatures in Hong Kong. The rain and the typhoons, and those are ones that we really can't control, and we'll just have to sort of pick up the seaweed farms, the prototypes during those times, and then redeploy them after the typhoon.
Here, these are the first year locations of our seaweed farms. Since we started the project from scratch, we decided to put some seaweed farms inside the Aberdeen Harbour in the typhoon shelter, 2 outside right in the entrance, 1 in Lama, and 5 more in the area around South Bay and Ripples Bay. And this gave us some information for later on the second year, select better our locations for the deployments. Here you can see one of the seaweed farms in Lama was actually having very substantial growth, for example. This one, it's the one that was close to the Black Dolphin, our boat. You can see also there's slightly growth of ulva, but a little bit more of sargasso. This year, actually, we started a partnership during our applied marine science course that we teach to high school students. We went to Sai Kung and we did a collaboration with a fish farm in order to reduce the amount of nitrogen and phosphate that is actually not consumed by fish. So here you can see all the students priming these ropes and checking the water parameters on the fish farms. Here you can see the result of this year. Actually, we deployed 4 seaweed farms, and as a highlight, you can see the one in South Bay. It had significantly bigger growth than the other ones, around 7 kilos of seaweed, and we harvested 3 times during the season. In total, it would be around 2 kilos of carbon sequestrated, which is very significant. And they also, our students from applied marine science, they also measure the length of the blades and the width, so we could have some data afterwards, and they can do some research about it. Here also you can see how they dry it after they harvest it. They sun dry it in the school's rooftop, and then after they just keep it in a box for later consuming. We also work together with the Foundry to deploy some data pods and measure the water parameters around the seaweed farms, and trying to understand how different water parameters like nitrate, dissolved oxygen, pH, and temperature will change by having the seaweed farm nearby. Here is probably the most interesting phase of the project for the students as well. They will be able to learn marine zoology, mostly invertebrates, by sampling. Once we harvest the seaweed, we did like a biodiversity survey, and as you see, they found like all kinds of animals from nudibranch to flatworms, anemones, egg layings of nudibranch, crabs, spider crabs. If you go to the next slide, uh, polychaetes, which are worms, tiny shrimps, isopods, caprolithes, sea snails. So we found like a big range of different species and help us to teach them as well marine zoology.
Right, so that was a very interesting explanation about the seaweed farming project. But of course, throughout this project, we're able to record the changes on their behavior with regards to their awareness of the benefits and uses. So we're able to see an 83.33% increase on their awareness and a 42.5% increase on their awareness as well on the different types of seaweed and their role in the ocean. So that was a huge change, of course. And all in all, we're able to conduct 20 different learning activities for five different grade levels involving around 250 students. We had three whole school activities, and of course, we were able to have a dedicated high school class under Marine Science Center, which is the Sustainable Aquaculture class. We're very happy that we're able to collaborate and introduce the project to 10 different local and international kindergarten and primary schools who visited the Marine Science Center to learn about the seaweed. And of course, we are proud to be selected and shortlisted as one of the top 10 world best school prizes in environmental action, and the only school in Hong Kong that was able to be shortlisted through this award. And of course, we're able to celebrate through this event a lot of people who are stakeholders in the sustainability field, including the Business Environment Council, World Green Organization, and others who joined us for this monumental occasion. And we're very happy to be congratulated by key personnel, including government officials, and of course, our partner, Ocean Park Corporation. The Seaweed Project garnered a lot of media coverage from South China Morning Post to different online articles sharing our achievements and, of course, the different experiences that our students were able to have for these initiatives. We were also featured by Earth.org and other media outlets. Thank you so much, Mr. Carlos, for sharing all this information about seaweed. And if you guys have any question, feel free to chat in our chat box. We're more than happy to answer you. Thank you again,
So
and
much. Great.
let's move on to our next portion